Hello lovely art friends and welcome to the channel. This is Miriam. Today we are going to paint this lovely bird in autumn forest, you can say, with some autumn colors. And I thought I would just show you this because for this painting I've only used 4 colors. So I'm using the color wheel here. And I'm mixing all these colors together. And they are Hansa Yellow Deep, Alizarin Crimson, Cerulean Blue, and Payne's Grey. I will mostly be mixing these 3 here. And I just made a quick color circle just to show you what colors occur when you mix these 3 colors together. Then we get all these beautiful colors. And these colors here are the neutral colors, and you get those when you mix all 3 colors together. And it can be darker or lighter, and midtones as well. And here I tried to mix some of the purple color with some of the Payne's Grey. And this was a practice for how to make the background. So yes, but I thought it could be fun just to use these 3 colors, main colors, and then the Payne's Grey to darken some of the colors, especially when we are painting the bird. And I thought I would just show you this paper that I'm using for this. I've just bought it and I'm actually quite pleased with it. It's from Canson, I think it's called. XL textured multimedia paper, 300 grams. And yeah, it's just working very well, I think. These were some birds I did on a study course. So this will be the paper that I'm using, and you can see here that you can take off the paper if you want to when you finish the painting. If you want to put it in a frame, you can do that. So yeah, it's quite nice, and it's very easy to lift off colors from this paper, so I really like that. Yeah, I thought I would just tell you, but let's get on with the tutorial. Okay, so the next thing I've done is that I've divided my paper into 2 because I want it to be a smaller painting. So you can do the same, and then on this side you can, like I showed you here, you can try and make the color circles with the colors I suggested. You can also use some other colors if you like, but then you won't get the same result as I got here. So that's just something you should know. So I would suggest you begin with that, just a random circle, and try out how the colors work together, and then we will continue with the painting itself. And I have painted this bird a few times, so in the end I decided just to use some tracing paper to save myself some time. So I have to decide where in the painting I want the bird. And I think I would put him around here. So I'm tracing it with tracing paper. Then I have a pencil. And I've traced this from an image I have on my iPad. You could also print out, if you find a nice bird image, you could print it out and then trace it from there. I'll just put in some tape here as well so that it won't move. And then I just follow the lines and trace the bird. So now I have traced the bird, and then I will just by hand draw in the branch it's sitting on. And I will also draw in by hand the leaves. So then I decide where they are going. So I'll just and you can draw in as many leaves as you like. If you think that my painting has too little or not enough leaves, you can just draw in some more. It's completely up to you. But I will just draw in the last leaves. Okay, so the first thing we will paint is the bird. And I will continue with the lightest part first, and I will just go in with a clean yellow, quite a watery mix. And I will just apply it where I see the yellow on the bird. Then I will mix a little bit of blue in the yellow, because I see that on the reference photo there's a little bit of green, and I just dab it in while the paint is still wet, so that the paints will mix together on the paper. I'll put more and more blue into my yellow mix to get a greener color. And I'll also drop in some red into this mix so that I will get a nice toned down green. And here I've also dropped in a little bit of blue in the bottom part of the bird to make it quite dark and show that there's a shadow area here. Yes, and then I gave the rest of the bird the first layer of a purple color. I've made quite a dark mix of the red and the blue, and then I watered it down a little bit so it wouldn't be too strong to begin with, because I want to keep some areas light on the bird. I also began to paint the leaves, as you can see here, in different yellow brownish colors. I mixed the yellow and the red, and I also put in some of the blue to get different toned down neutral colors. At the top of the leaf, all the leaves, I also give it a little drop of the purple color because I want to have the purple in other places than the bird in the painting. And then I just continue and paint all the leaves. It's fall leaves or autumn leaves, so they are a little bit toned down. And I'm using my size 6 brush to do the job. It's nice and pointy, so I really like to use it here. And when the leaves are going over each other, I put in some shadow color where I use the purple to make the shadows with. So for the stems of the leaves you see here, leaves, I will use a dark brown, and I will mix all 3 colors together to get a dark brown color. And then I will just paint in these. And while we are at it, we can also paint in this branch the bird is sitting on, and we use the same brown color, and I'm making the mix quite watery so that the first layer will be quite light. And just be careful around the bird's feet. Then here at the bottom of the branch I will put in a darker color, and I've put in a lot of paint gray to the mix. And I will wet my brush and then just soften the edge. So now I'm using a size 2 brush, and I'm going to continue to work with the bird. And what I want to do is to paint the beacon. So I'm going in with a very dark mix of the paints gray. There's a little bit of blue in it, but it doesn't have to be. You can go in with just the paints gray. That was the lower half of the beacon, and then I'm also going to paint the eye. So that was the first part of the eye. Then I will go down here on the bird's feet, also with the dark mix, and I will put in some shadow areas here as well. Whoops, the branch is not that dry yet, so I have to be careful. I will go over here instead. And I will soften the edge with some clean water. And now I'm making the mix a little bit more watery, and then I will make some lines down the leg because I can see that in the reference photo. It shouldn't look too stripy, so you have to be careful to not make stripes. So I'm just softening the whole thing a little bit. Still there. Okay, but we will continue with the bird. We'll go in with the very dark purple, and I'm still using my size 2 brush. That gives me some more control of what I'm doing. Okay, so now I'm going to work a little bit here. I've mixed a green color, army green you can call it. It's the blue and the yellow, and I just want to make it more green down here than blue. So I'm just very carefully going in with some green color here. And then I'm softening the edges with clean water. And I can also see some green over here, so I will go in with a little bit of that as well here. And I shift to my size 2 brush, and I will work a little bit on the tail with the dark purple color. And then I will work some more on the legs with the paint spray. Hopefully everything is dry down here now, so I can go in and make some shadow areas. I think he looks a little bit angry, so I'm gonna work a little bit on the eye with the paint spray, dark mix. Yes, and then we have these white areas on the bird, where the fur is white. I'm gonna put in some clean cerulean blue on that area. A very watery mix, because I do believe we need some color there. There's always some shadows, even though the fur is white. So putting in some of the cerulean blue, and then I want to darken the beacon a little bit. The top of the beacon. Like that. And so now I want to work a little bit on some of the leaves. I want to put in some texture or some ribs on the leaves. I don't know if you can say that, but that's what it's called in Danish. So I go in with a light orange color. And I'm just painting those lines on the leaf. Like that. Yeah, I won't do it on all the leaves, but on some of them. Yes, and then the last thing we need to paint is the background. So I'm going to have to mix some colors. And you know, there are different ways we could go with the background. You could put in a blue, black background. That could be quite pretty as well. I believe this was what I was putting in on this painting here. I was using this. And you know, that's a mix between all three colors. It's a neutral color, but very watery. And yeah, it's also here. So I would suggest that you practice some colors here on this side and see what you like. I will try and see if I can mix this color. Another thing you could do, you could put in some more leaves in lighter colors in the background if you prefer that. That could be nice as well. You could also just leave it like this, because it's quite effectful when you have the very white background as well. So yeah, it depends on what you prefer. So, but I will put in the background. So just to show you how my color looks, it looks like this. But the thing is, with this cerulean blue, which is from Daniel Smith, it's sort of, when it dries, you can see it more than you can see it here when it's wet. It's quite a nice thing, I believe. So I'm going to go with this mix, quite watery. And what I will also do, actually, is wet the area I'm going to paint, so that I won't have any hard edges. And I will begin up here, and I will just wet this area. And then I will drop in background color. And I will just continue with that on the whole background. Okay, so now we are just going to put in the final details or fix a little bit here and there. So I'm just gonna soften a little bit around here, and I do that with a damp brush. And like I told you in the beginning of the video, this paper is quite easy to work with. It's very good at when you want to blend your colors and lift off some paint. It's very good with that. So that's really nice. I'm just going to soften a little bit here as well. And I just gently rub my brush on the area and just soften this a little bit. And I want to take off a little bit of color in the eye, just a little bit. And perhaps blend a little bit out in here where it's quite white. I'm just blending a little bit of color out so it won't be too white. But I'm actually quite pleased with this painting. I think it's quite a pretty fall painting. And I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. It would really help this channel a lot if you could share this video or like and also subscribe. But what also really means a lot is that people watch the whole video because I have enough subscribers, but I don't have enough hours seen on my channel. So I really need people to watch the whole video, and I'm really working hard to make it interesting to watch the whole thing. But yeah, if you want to help me out, watch my videos to the end. But that was all from me for this time. Be well, and I hope to see you again in another video. Bye.